before Larry Brown, head coach for the Philadelphia 76ers, once took me home on a team plane. It happened once before. If I'm an agent and I represent the biggest superstar in the sport, arguably, who plays for your franchise, there are perks and privileges that are going to come along with it. Happened for David Falk, happened for Arn Tellem, happened for Jeff Schwartz. I mean, how big time do you think Jeff Schwartz was when the Brooklyn Nets had his client Jason Kidd as their coach? And Paul Pierce as a player? Jeff Wexler once represented Alonzo Mourning. Still does, actually. But you know what I'm saying. He ain't getting any perks. I don't know what they are. I don't care. David Falk represented Michael Jordan. You think he ain't getting any perks? He represented Patrick Ewing and Dikembe Mutombo and early in the career of Allen Iverson. You think he didn't get any perks? Are you out your mind? Of course there's perks. My brother, I love him like a brother. My Uncle Jerome, Shaq's man, security and all. Guess what? You hire Shaq, you better hire him. Shaq ain't going nowhere without him. Nowhere. And he shouldn't. And he shouldn't. See, once again, I go back to what I've been trying to explain to y'all about business. We ain't going to get all altruistic here and talk about the way things should be. We're going to talk about the way things are. I'm not going to disarm youngsters on a come up, black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, Jews, Gentile, I don't give a damn, none of them. We're going to tell the truth. We're going to speak the truth. We know the way it should be. Let's talk about the way things are. Those who have the gold make the golden rules. There are haves and there are have-nots. There are perks and then there are individuals devoid of any. That's the real world. And oh, by the way, there's a reason why America is considered the greatest country on God's green earth. Do you know why? You know why we got that red, white, and blue hovering over us even when you don't see it? You know why people risk their lives swimming in oceans and beyond to get to this nation? Do you know why? Because of the hope of prosperity. The fact that you have an opportunity to exceed your wildest dreams and expectations, to achieve beyond measure, to do things that were once deemed a fantasy. In America, in this country, your dreams can come true. Or you can plummet. There's no such thing as everybody has, because everyone's entitled. Everyone ain't entitled. You might be entitled to some things, basic things, just public education, there's private education, there's chartered education, there's Catholic education. There's poor, poverty, deprivation. There's lower middle class, there's middle class. There's the affluent upper class, there's rich, and then there's wealth. Which one are you going to be? Which one are you determined to be? That's America. So why are we sweating it? When somebody comes along and they find themselves in a position where ultimately their opportunity to shine and to reap the benefits of their labor comes to fruition. Let me tell y'all something. There are a couple of things I don't like about LeBron James. You ain't gonna see us having lunch or dinner together or singing Kumbaya with one another. I can promise you that. But when I tell you I love that brother, I mean it. Because when I say I love him, or I speak about love in the same breath as Rich Paul or Magic Johnson or the Goodwin brothers or Bill Duffy or the late Hank Thomas, Henry Thomas, the agent of D. Wade and Bosch and others, God rest his wonderful soul. What a fantastic agent he was, and an even better man. Former agents like Bill Strickland. When I sit up there and I speak about guys like that, when I look at Masai Ujiri, the president for the Toronto Raptors franchise, you know what it did to my heart to see that brother achieve this? To see his family descend from the rafters, to come down, tears streaming down their face, all hugging and kissing him. So happy for him. You know what it meant to him to get to this point? It's very, very simple. It comes from a certain place, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why there's love there, it's not about the individual. It's about what they represent. LeBron is not perfect, not in my eyes. One of the best people I've ever known. He just annoys me with his fixation on trying to control a narrative. That's no crime. It's just an irritant. It doesn't take away from how great of a person he is. What a great role model he is. Dwayne Wade, one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. Kobe Bryant, an assassin personified, whose intellect is off the chart, nothing short of brilliant, speaks multiple languages, a businessman, the only guy I know, a champion 5 times over, and an Oscar winner. Shaquille O'Neal, 4-time champion. His philanthropy, the soul that his mama and the Sarge, God rest his soul, instilled in that brother. You can't find a person with a better soul than Shaquille O'Neal. That's why the word of all his nicknames, Aristotle and, the big Aristotle and all of this other stuff. My favorite nickname for Shaquille O'Neal is Shaka Claus. Because that's what he really wants to be. He wants to be Santa Claus to everybody. Just to extend a helping hand. Barkley just hung out with him the other day. All he wants to do is make everybody smile, buying drinks and all this other stuff and partying, talking and all this other stuff. You know what Charles Barkley loves to do? Make people happy. Just one of the most thoughtful, kind people you'll ever. Honest. Straightforward. I can relate to that. Sometimes it puts people off. I get that. Great soul. Michael Jordan, Mr. Y'all want to talk about him and wonder about his contributions. You have any idea what Michael Jordan does behind the scenes? You have any idea how many people he's lifted up and employed and is carried along with him, just like LeBron James is doing now? It's not about them as the individual per se, loving them. It's loving what they epitomize, what they represent, what they mean to communities throughout this nation that come from a depraved and desolate environment. They don't have to be that way. They chose to be that way. And it is my opinion that God picked them to be that way. They're soldiers of God himself because their heart is bigger than we could ever measure. When I look at Rich Paul, when I look at Eric and Aaron, and I look at Bill Duffy, and I look at the brothers that have been in this industry. That's not to say that there's a whole bunch of white folks that aren't the same, because they are. And I'm not one of those people that, just because you're not black, you must have bad intentions. BS. Wonderful, wonderful people I know who don't happen to be black. Fair-minded, God-fearing, decent people. For all we know it, Rob Pelinka could be that guy, and a whole bunch of people are lying on him for crying out loud. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, when you look at somebody like a Rich Paul, once selling T-shirts out of the trunk of a car, now one of the premier agents in this business. When you look at Maverick Carter, you have any idea how brilliant that brother is? How respected he is in the community? in the business community, what he's doing behind the scenes to make things happen for the LeBron James brand. Even a guy like Randy Mims, LeBron's friend, right hand, personal assistant, call him whatever you want. He'll die for that brother. Loyal. Ain't about money. It's about his love for his friend. When I say I got love for people, I can be critical of them in what they do, not who they are. We talk about Rich Paul here. You got people that want us to view him like he's some damn criminal or something. It's beyond the pale. Agents can have a problem. They can compete and have a problem with it. That's perfectly understandable. If an executive wants to speak out against them, that's perfectly understandable, even though I haven't heard any who have. But when I look at all of these people and all of the things, it's not just LeBron James and his crew. It's not just the Goodwin brothers and his crew. It's not just Duffy and his crew. It's not just executives like Magic and Michael and Isaiah and others. It's not just them. There's a whole bunch of people that came from nothing and built themselves into something. And where else do you know you can pull that off better than in the United States of America? It's what makes this country great. That's what we do all aspire for. And along the lines, you ruffle feathers. And along the lines, you going for it, and you got to step over somebody to get there. I didn't say backstab. I said step over or walk through. Sometimes that's necessary because somebody's got to be the best. Somebody's got to be the best. And these people have made it part of their life's mission. Pull that off. I see nothing wrong with that with Rich Paul. I see nothing wrong with that with Magic Johnson. I see nothing that with LeBron James. I see nothing wrong with that with anybody. Those who do see something wrong with it, maybe it's because they're not the ones winning. 888-SAY-ESPN, that's 888-729-3776. Back to your calls in more in a minute. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, life special.